What is going on, you guys? Welcome back to the channel. This entire week has been pouring rain, today as well too, and it's really dark and gloomy out because obviously it's raining. It's like 2 o'clock, and I decided, you know what, I'm just gonna come out here in the garage and let's put in some work on the 88 HF CRX. Now I'm still waiting for a lot of suspension components to come in. I got a couple boxes that already showed up, and we'll dive into that when all of it comes in. I literally have like 6 or 7 more deliveries to show up. Granted, Rock Auto, if they don't have it at that warehouse, it gets sourced throughout literally the US to get whatever it is that I ordered shipped to me, and a lot of the packages are coming from different states. So today I wanted to do the wire tuck, or at least the passenger side. I was gonna do the driver's side because it is much simpler, much easier, but that'll put me, you know, towards the weather, and it'll be really cold to do it here. Although it may not take long, I figured, you know what, let's tackle the much more complicated side, which is the passenger side, because it has the fuse box and all that stuff. So let's dive into it. Now, typically, if your engine bay is untouched, you have literally your fuse box that sits right here. The chassis harness that comes from the firewall coming into the engine bay comes out through this hole, and there's a bunch of wires that comes along the frame rail. If you have AC, it goes across. If you don't, it stops right there. But you have all of the headlight, corner lamps, bumper lamp, the horn, all that stuff sits right here in this corner. Now, when we painted this engine bay, I pulled everything inside just to make it easier instead of trying to tape everything up and then trying to paint around it. Inside the car here, oh, forgot about that. Inside the car, you'll see all the wiring just chilling on the floorboard. So a lot of this is going to be going out the passenger side and then going across the frame rail. I asked myself, I even said it in the last video, not sure if I want the fuse box to still be in the engine bay. And for me to do that, to keep the fuse box itself in the engine bay, so you're not really tinkering down here for the fuse box, because it does become a headache and a pain in the booty when you're big like me trying to get underneath, you know, imagining the glove box being right here to get to the fuse box. But if everything is done right, you shouldn't really have issues with blowing fuses or anything in the fuse box that may be a concern other than the battery fuse. But if I wanted to keep the fuse box in the engine bay, all of this right here, or actually not all of this, the fuse box wiring, which is one plug, this one right here, and this one right here, I would have to strip this from all of this harness so that it's long enough to go back through the firewall to mount to the fuse box sitting in the engine bay. If I don't, literally all of this has to like bend into some weird shape to go wherever the fuse box would be sitting, depending on where I place them. And then everything else that you see, like right here, literally from right here, is going to go out to the fender. So I found the fuse box, and I didn't realize that one of the leg is broken off right here. This one is supposed to be mounted right here, and then there's a mounting point right there for the top one right here. So I kind of stuck it on here, right? And I'm looking at it, not feeling it. So I am going to take the fuse box and stick it inside like I always do with all my wire tucks. And this time around, I want to keep the ECU in that position, because normally ECU comes out and it's always chilling on the floorboard, or at least in my cars. And then I take the fuse box with one of the tabs and I bolt it to the ECU location, something like this, right? And then the ECU would either be tucked away, and then the fuse box sits in place, carpet goes over, no bulging, no weirdness going on down here. But I don't want this to be chilling anywhere else other than where it's supposed to sit, right? So that means I want to put the fuse box somewhere like this, or like in my car, upside down. Upside down puts all of the wiring like this, the loom, going upwards and out of the way of the foot area, bulging the carpet and all that. And once the wiring is fixed in place, like the power wires and stuff, the fuse box is fixed in place, fuse box is, you know, secured, it's not going to be in the way of anything. It's not gonna interfere with anything, and it's not going to come out as often as you would think it would, and you wouldn't really worry about all the wires chilling back here. Now we're not using the AC stuff anymore, so I'm gonna have a lot of room down here for the wiring and stuff. So what I just did was I just stripped back the engine harness plug side that sits normally on the tower behind the fuse box, and I took all of the wiring that goes to the fuse box to make it longer, right? So I pulled out about I don't know, 7 or 8 inches to have a little bit more play. And I also pulled out the wiper motor plug right here further out, so that way we can bring it back to the engine bay and plug it up to the wiper motor so we can still retain the wiper. Now there was only one wire that I had to extend, which is this yellow and black. I extended enough that it matches the rest of the wiring. It was just one wire right there. That's all shrink tube and soldered in. And now I can loom this guy back up with the sleeve that it took off right here, loom it all back up, and then figure out where the fuse box is going to go so we can mount that into place and plug it back up. I'm not worried about the wiper motor plug. And then this one is just going to be chilling up there, because we're not going to be using this anymore, because I am trying to get a tucked harness which doesn't require none of these plugs. So the fuse box wiring routed into the fuse box, this guy reloomed, and this is what's going to go out the passenger side. I've removed this out of the way, so resistor plug, blower plug right here at the bottom, right? And there are a couple 10 mil bolts that are holding this into place. There's one right here in the top, there's one right here in the back, and then there's one that's like all the way up there. You gotta use an extension that comes off, and this should be able to just slide right out. Oh my freaking update. So this wire, this plug is for the fan, and this sat way up in this joint right here, which is way far from all of the other wirings and plugs. So what I did was I stripped it back and then pretty much undid the electrical tape that was right there to pull the fan plug all the way forward, so that way we just gain some more slack right here, because this section of the harness is not going to be going through the passenger side. This is going to stay inside, and I need this extra length, because after removing the blower motor, my goal is to get this to sit up against the firewall, so that way when the box goes back up, the wiring is not going to be in the way. I need the extra slack so that way I can pull all of this right here out the passenger side, because all of this has to go out. So right now we have a lot of slack, right? We got about maybe 2.5 feet of wiring to tuck back up in here, and the fuse box, because this is broken, I can't mount it anywhere right now. I'm just going to let it sit here. I'll make a bracket for it soon. All the other plugs is going to sit up top because we're not going to be needing them. Granted, we're going to try to get a tuck harness which doesn't require it, and we zip tie the harness itself to the top bracket up here. So that hopefully is going to be out of the way. When I find my AC bypass duct, hopefully it'll clear all that. So all of this is going to be going through the passenger side. I removed the plugs from the corner lamp right here, one, and actually this is the bumper, and then there's 2 for the corner lamp, which are these 2 right here. You can see they're just chilling right here. It just makes it a lot easier to feed all this harness through the passenger side. And I'm going to be using the hole for the harness to the doors, which typically is just the speaker wires, and I'm gonna cut a hole right here. The reason why I'm not drilling a hole is because of grommet, and you know, obviously you want to make sure that it's going to be super snug tight when like rain and stuff comes. I don't run it through here because this is the gutter for the rain. Rain comes down, goes through here, comes out to the side right there. I don't want all the wires to be in place of that, and I don't want to cause a new hole where water can get into the car. So I'm using this because rain don't really come this way, and I'm going to trim this grommet to fit the harness just enough. So right now I'm just going to pull that out and feed all the wires through one at a time. So I got the harness pulled out of the passenger side, and I'm about to cut this grommet a little bit just so we can put this grommet back into the hole, and that part that we're going to cut is going to allow the harness to come through and be sealed with this grommet here. I put some snake loom on here, and I pushed it in probably about 4 inches going that way, and this harness is secured. I zip tied it to the brake line to keep it away from the heater. I can't really show you guys because this guy just chilling on me right here, and he's like clawing into my back and pulling my sweater, kind of tightening up on my neck here. But the harness is pulled out enough to where the inside should clear the blower motor, but I have this on here so that the bare wire is not rubbing up against the frame, and then we'll get into this portion right here. So I'm going to cut this real quick, shove it in, show you guys how it look, and then we'll go to extending these wires. So on the grommet right there, I cut a little piece out of it, right? And I got the grommet pushed back in to the hole. This is nice and secured. This area is not going to have rain, and we're not going to have any type of rain going inside and shorting the wires and all of that. So that's good. So I'm going to tell you guys right now, anybody can do a wire tuck. You just got to take it real slow, real nice and easy, and do this one at a time. I've seen a lot of people make mistakes and they just cut the whole thing right off, not realizing that there are a few wires that are the same color but they have different functions. I always tell people, cut this off one at a time. And for the passenger side, EF specifically, because this is what I mostly work on, and what I always do on the passenger side of the EF, or if you're right-hand drive, the passenger side on the other side, mount the grounding block. This is a grounding block, right? All of the stuff that needs a ground comes back to this box. So anywhere really will work as long as the area is down to the bare metal. And you can use a self-tapping screw, you can use a bolt and nut. I've used self-tapping screws without issue. Just got to go really slow so you're not hollowing out the hole going super quick. And typically what I do with that is I pretty much go the length of the excess wire coming out of the frame here. So that's gonna probably put like my ground somewhere, I don't know, somewhere here, right? Just to kind of keep this slack from like just, you know, slacking, I guess. And I pretty much put the fan with it. The fan, this is the fan relay right here, right? I kind of put them like in a general area, right, because they're about the same length. And then all of these dangling wires are the ones that needs to be extended to their home locations. So right now, guys, I don't want to confuse y'all. I'm gonna go ahead and get my ground and my relay set into place, and then we'll move forward. Not too much. So I have the headlight and the corner lamp into place to give me a reference of how long I need to extend these wires. I just unloomed all of these plugs right here separate from each other. So we got the headlight right here, high beam, low beam. We got corner lamp, parking and signal, and then we have this one, which is the bumper lamp. This is the horn, this is the fan. Now again, I advise you guys, if you're doing this, whether you have wiring skills or not, anybody can extend this as long as you take your time and do it one at a time. And what I mean by one at a time is, when I separated these right here, obviously I'm focusing on one plug at a time, and they're all separated from each other, untangled. And like for example, I'm going to push this guy off to the side and I'm going to do the fan first. Now there are a lot of black wires, there's a lot of red with different color stripe wires, there are a couple greens, so that's why I'm advising you guys to do it one at a time. Now you can simply do one wire, right, and then extend that wire fully. For an example, this black and yellow, cut it, extend it, and then cut the blue one and extend it accordingly. Or because you haven't snipped all of the other ones yet, you can snip literally just this whole section off and then extend them, and it's really not that hard to connect blue to blue and black to black. So cut it off, extend it to the home location. This is the fan, so I'm gonna, you know, measure from where it starts along the rail where it's going to be sitting, and then it's going to go all the way around to where typically the fan plug sits, somewhere in this general area. Give it that slack, extend it, solder it, shrink tube it, and then you can move on to the next one. I was waiting for my GoPro to charge because I failed to charge it. It died while doing the time lapse, but we got the passenger side pretty much done. Everything is routed into their home locations, and I taped up the body of the harness that is going to be loomed together, and just making it nice and uniform. We got these guys right here going to the corner lamp, and surprisingly I didn't have to really extend this bunch of wires. There are 4 in here, and normally I extend it so that way when the fender's on, you can pull it out, put it into the corner lamp, and then put it into the fender and secure it into place. But for some reason, I don't know, this seems longer. Maybe I pull this out further, I don't know, but I didn't have to extend this. So if you look, the socket would typically sit about there, and this goes out further, so I don't think I'm gonna have any issue with this coming out of the fender once the fender is in place. We got what is this? This is the horn. I'm probably going to keep the horn in it. This right here is the fan, goes to the front. We have low beam, high beam right here. They are offsetted obviously because the bulb is about 5-6 inches apart, so that was extended accordingly. And then we have this one right here, goes to the front bumper lamp on the bumper itself, so that's extended past the bracket, so that way once the bumper is in place, we can, you know, bring the harness out of the bumper and then install into the lamp, and then lamp to the bumper. The junction of all of these is probably going to be about right here, so it's going to be solid loom up to about right here, and then it's going to split off into each individual wires to their home locations. So what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to go through my bin. I don't really have much material. I didn't really go buy material to do this. I just pretty much winged it and prayed that I had a bunch of looms to loom this all up. I think I have enough for one whole side, and that's what I'm about to do right now. I'm just going to go ahead and take off the 2 screws right here to bring this out, to loom it all the way, electrical tape it nice and clean, and then we'll put it all back up. Try to find some clamps in my bin or in my toolbox to see if I can permanently get this guy to be stuck on the frame rail, so that way it's not just dangling off whatever this is. So I'm gonna do that quick and then show you guys how it looks. Bam, there you go guys. Passenger side wire tuck all done, all loomed up, all secured into place. I don't have any more of these. I need to go buy more of it. I almost ran out of electrical tape as well too. I need to go grab more of that. And if you look, we have the corner lamp bulbs into place. Underneath the headlight, we have the low beam, high beam into place. Horn typically sits right here. That's gonna reach perfectly fine. Fan switch is gonna go right in there. Then we have the bumper lamp plug right here, which is more than enough length to get to where it needs to go. So that right there guys is how I do the passenger side wire tuck. Let me take you inside one more time to show you guys what I did down here. Fuse box, we'll find a bracket for it somewhere here. This guy's tucked away because we're not going to be needing it with the tuck harness, but if you guys aren't using a tuck harness, then this will typically sit somewhere here, and then you have to do further modifications for your engine harness to make it reach from the engine bay to the cabin. On the right side, we have the harness, which originally sat on the passenger frame rail, now routing along the firewall, the side, which goes out right there, right? And this is zip tied away, so that way the heater blower system will fit right back in here. And the reason why it's not back on right now is because I need to change out the seal on it, because literally there's nothing left of it on here. So I'm gonna have to go to Home Depot and get some like window seal, some really thick ones, so that way it's nice and compressed when I put it back up. I'm not sure if you can still buy this from Honda. I'm sure Honda sells these as a universal strip that you can cut to length and install into your box, but I still have to clean the heck out of this as well too. You guys saw a ton of leaf came out of here and made a mess inside the car. I'm not gonna do the driver's side because I'm out of material. I don't feel like crawling under here in the cold under the driver's seat right now with all the stuff that we have pulled in. The steering column is sitting down right now because we took out the booster, but I will link some videos I've done on the channel years before of doing the driver's side on my car, my friends' cars, customers' cars. It's all the same concept. So if you guys want to see how I do the driver's side, check out those videos. It's a lot easier than the passenger side, and if you guys do it the way I explain it in those videos, hopefully I explain those videos, you shouldn't need to extend that many wires at all. So be sure to check out those links. But I am going to wrap up the video right here, guys. I am super cold, and I've changed that battery lamp like 4 times now. I'm almost out of propane tank, but for the most part, we got the passenger side done. So if you guys enjoyed today's progress update on the 88 CRX, be sure to hit the thumbs up in this video. And if you guys want to stick around for the suspension stuff, because I know we got a couple packages coming in tomorrow. We already got a few coming in already today and yesterday. Be sure to hit the subscribe button. But with that being said, thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.